you guys, it's Brit. Tonight we're here with an update on the Happy Caravan. This is a family vlogging channel that I have covered in the past sporadically, not a ton of videos, but I have covered them before, and they're a large family. They relocated to New York City because all of their children are very talented and they play string instruments, and I've given commentary as far as their relocation and kind of some other things that they have posted on their social media. But the reason for today's video is that Amber has updated her audience on YouTube that they are actually facing an eviction from their house that they were renting in New York City. So I had a few thoughts. If you're interested, please keep watching. All right, you guys, so as of filming this video, the Happy Caravan has 185,000 subscribers on YouTube, and the video that she posted sharing the housing update has 75,000 views, 3.4 thousand likes to 410 dislikes. And in the caption, she wrote, "The story of how our family's world has gotten jumbled recently. The shock is still settling in, lawsuits, evictions, and debt. But we know that God can even use these things for his glory and our good." Oh, I really don't like this. You being financially irresponsible does not equate to God showing you a lesson. That, like, you just don't know how to manage money. In this video, she starts out and really early on makes her neighbor enemy number one. And if you're wondering why he's enemy number one, it's because the person that lived next door to her or lives next door to her was annoyed by the level of noise that was coming from their unit. When you have multiple children that want to practice their instruments, that is going to be loud. That is going to be annoying to the person that is literally living next door to you. And if y'all don't know, they are in a townhouse. So we're not talking about a single family home out in the country and someone is like making a big ordeal out of nothing. Your wall sits next to your neighbor's wall. There is no separation. So she says how the neighbor was annoyed with the noise and basically made a big deal out of nothing, even though that's not nothing. When your kids are constantly playing string instruments and practicing and making all kinds of noise, that matters. That matters to the people that are living on either side of you. She basically says that she received, after having issues with the neighbor, she received an email from her landlord that owns this home and said that they need to be out by July 15th, 2025. She said initially it was super stressful and, chaotic, I guess, but now things are kind of settling in and they have come to the realization that they do need to relocate. I don't know what kind of outcome you expected from this. I have a guess, which I will share in just a moment, but you are not working. You are full-time stay-at-home mom, which is valid. Your husband works but is not making enough to support all of the kids. So therefore, the kids have to also pitch in and pay for things like groceries and household bills, which is not their responsibility. They did not ask to be here. Y'all decided to have way too many kids. So even with money and savings, you are paying $12,500 per month for rent, and you're not making a lot of money. And you're making excess noise and pissing off your neighbors, but now coming to YouTube trying to make your neighbor sound like some kind of... She literally said that her neighbors should go live in a retirement community. No, I think that your children should not be making excess noise and annoying the neighbor.
On April 13th, we got a letter from our neighbor, and he said he was going to basically sue us if we continued to practice. And it's not just like practice like after hours, like you're really only supposed to practice from 7 in the morning till 10 at night. It wasn't that. He had like no tolerance for any of our practice at all because he said it was disturbing him and it was a nuisance. Legally, I don't think he had grounds because I've seen a lot of cases, right? There was somebody that tried to sue these two Manus players. They went to the Manus school and they were pianists, and they were two sisters. And the judge said, the person who was suing them basically said, oh, you know, the pain and suffering of having to hear them practice is just, it's, you know, my mental health is waning or whatever. And the judge said, you know what, no, because these girls go to Manus School of Music, and whatever mental health struggles you're having with them practicing is less important than them not being able to further themselves in music, so they get to practice. So anyway, that person lost the lawsuit. And I mean, this is a musical city, and it does seem to zealously guard its musicians. I've never heard of a situation where somebody actually won against a musician in New York City, unless they're being like obnoxious after 10 and all this stuff. Now, we did not know the law, there was a time when we've gone a little bit over not understanding the law, but really his biggest complaint is the kids playing piano, which is kind of ironic because they don't play piano nearly as often as they should. They're mostly string players. They're supposed to practice 20 minutes of piano a day, barely. Like, barely can I get them to practice that. And recently he's even complained, he's like, we have an electric piano down in the bottom level, and he's like, oh, I heard that electric piano twice this week. Like, you know, like, and it's low. And so, anyway, thankfully our pastor's a lawyer, and he looked at the decibels and everything. He's like, no, there's no way. You do not have a case. I had to accommodate this guy. Our piano has insulated studio foam stuck in the back of it. We just have it upright. We bought these really expensive casters to try and dampen the sound. Still, this guy's like, I'm gonna sue you, I'm gonna sue you. I felt really confident that this guy had no case, especially after reading all the cases where the judges are like, no, this is a musical city. We have musicians here, sorry, you have to deal with it. Oh, in fact, no, so this guy, the suing guy, if Enoch was practicing violin for like 20 minutes in the living room, he would send the police with a noise complaint. So the police would come over and they'd be like, yeah, we have a noise complaint. And he'd be like, yeah, it's my son, my 8-year-old son. He's practicing violin. I wasn't really afraid of the lawsuit. I was afraid of the process of the lawsuit, having to get a lawyer, having to do all this stuff, you know, process being the punishment. But I was really confident that, especially since we're at strings, I got foam in the back of the piano, we're trying, you know, not a problem. But at the end of the letter, he says, oh, and I'm informing your landlord about the situation. He's complained to our landlord before, and we've talked to our landlord. We're like, look, this guy complains about everything. The way we shut the door, the way we walk up and down the steps in our road. He complains about everything. If the kids are like talking in the backyard, you know, his wife will slam the door. Like I'm like, these people, I think they need to be in a retirement community. You know what I mean? Where children are not allowed. It's like, anyway, so he tells our landlord about this. And that was my biggest concern, that the landlord would be like, oh, you know, these problem tenants. And maybe, who knows, maybe he was threatening to sue the landlord. And the landlord has been really cool with us. The landlord had a big family, so he understands noise, you know, but at the same time, the landlord works in Seattle now. And the landlord no longer works at Columbia University, where he used to work, which is right, you know, up the street. And so having this kind of burdensome brownstone in Manhattan maybe wasn't exactly necessary anymore. And then, you know, the final straw potentially being our neighbor next door, who is a church planter, trying to get a family evicted. Just blows me away. So anyway, so he tells our landlord about it, and we're like, well, you know, hopefully our landlord understands, you know, this guy is just really, really sensitive about every little thing. On the 15th, this is, what was it, April 15th? It was April 15th, tax day. So April 15th, I get an email, and our landlord's like, you know, we're thinking about our plans, and we're going to sell the brownstone. So you need to be evicted or vacated or whatever the word is, you know, legalese in 90 days. And we're like, oh. So we live in a very expensive brownstone. We did not set out to rent an expensive brownstone. We just every time we looked anywhere that was close to the kids' music school, or we wouldn't be in a 2-hour train ride or whatever, everything we were looking at was just very expensive or too small for our family. We even tried, like, maybe we can squeeze into a 3-bedroom, but no. You know, like, the reason why this person even gave us time of day, I think, was because it was 5 bedrooms, seemed big enough for our family. And it was $9,800, and then we rented the bottom level, and that was an additional $2,500. So grand total, we're renting every month $12,300, which is actually a steal of a deal, if you can believe it, for being anywhere on the island of Manhattan, being not so far from the music schools, and also, you know, not dealing with an apartment situation.
What I think Amber expected out of this is she thought, we're going to move to New York. We're going to go mega viral. We've hired a management company, which, by the way, they're also in debt with their management company. She said around $14,000 they owe to this management company.
Or Queens or whatever. The problem is that to move, you need to continue paying rent where you are. And then there used to be also a broker's fee. I think they voted to get that ditched, so there should not be a broker's fee anymore by the time we'd have to move. But there was a very expensive broker's fee, and then also there's obviously the first month's rent and the deposit. So, I mean, you put all those numbers together, plus moving expenses. You know, we're probably looking at $12,000, $14,000, $15,000, and you'd be surprised how hard it is to save up $15,000 when you're paying $12,300 in rent. So we had some savings, and just little by little, just the city. And I've heard other families that have come here, the exact same thing happens, where you underestimate how crazy expensive the city is. It's so expensive, everything. Everything is like twice the price. A hot dog, everything, it's twice the price. Parking at Costco, $12, like everything. We have nothing in reserve. Plus we're also not like the A renters because our credit isn't great. Now we have made every credit card payment on time. All the things that are on a credit report are like every on time. So it's green, 100%. You know, we paid everything on time. We pay our rent always on time, like the day before. Everything's on time, but we have $37,000 in credit card debt, which, I mean, it's hard to explain how that happens, but it happens little by little, and then all of a sudden we owe our management company like probably $14,000. Now that's not on a credit report either, and they're not charging us interest. They probably should be, but they're not. So we are just drowning, and just because everything I've made from social, I've had to be like we eat, we pay rent. You know, it's not like I have this superfluous amount. It's like, should I pay the management company or should I go to Disneyland? It's like, should I buy broccoli or should I, you know, like, so it's like,
They thought that everything was just going to fall in line and they were going to become very wealthy by documenting their life and posting it on social media. That did not happen, in conjunction with pissing off the neighbors and making excess noise. And now they are left to find a new place. And what she has shared is that their plan, if nothing else comes through, they are going to go back to San Diego and live in their camper on her grandparents' property. This video had a lot of word salad moments from Amber, a lot of things that just didn't make any sense. She went off on a tangent. Here's my thing. You're sharing this, and it is a video that is just shy of 1 hour long. You think that people are going to sit through this entire video and pity you? People are calling you out in the comments. People are recognizing that this is giving very word salad, manic kind of energy. And simultaneously, you are sad fishing when you signed up for a super expensive rent and you thought that you were going to get away with your kids practicing their instruments and disturbing the neighbors because your kids are talented and they're going to Juilliard and all of this stuff. And you know, of course, you have to sprinkle in religion at the same time, reminding everybody that you're a good Christian family. Let me explain two things to you. Number one, just because your children are gifted and good at anything, whether it's musical, sports, art, whatever, that does not mean that you can get away with anything. And number two, the expectation that you are going to be able to continue to not work and have all of these kids because you thought you were going to go viral on social media is wild. And you being Christian does not have anything to do with the fact that your kids were disrupting the neighbor who also was paying for his housing. And now we're full circle and we're going back to San Diego to live in a camper on your grandparents' property. The last thing I want to say in this video, because I would like for it to not be an hour of word salad nonsense, is that nobody forced them to move to New York. They literally followed one of their kids out there that was accepted to Juilliard. That child had housing. They decided to bring the whole family out to New York because this kid got into Juilliard or whatever. So I don't feel bad for you, and I don't like that you're throwing around Bible verses and I'm a good Christian and pity me, poor me nonsense. I've never cared for Amber or this business model of let's exploit our talented children's in hopes of going viral so that we can afford a really expensive house and hope that the neighbors don't get annoyed with us. I don't like this. I really want to know, how do y'all feel about this? In my description box, I will link a couple of prior videos about them in case you're interested, you want to know more, and we'll just kind of go from there. I don't feel bad for this lady. I really don't. I can't. And it's the arrogance and the, oh, but I'm a good person. We're a Christian family. Why is this happening to us? I don't like it. But either way, that's it for today. If you like the video, please leave a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.